Hi, I'm Josh from the Fort Worth Trailer, back again inside with another video where we just make stuff. Today we are going to do a short video where I'm going to reassemble the Nerf Slingfire gun that we've been working on for a little while. And then we should only have one after that where we do the finish up. So let's get started. Okay. So last time we made this buttstock look really good, and now we're ready to reassemble the rifle. Now I do this because I like to do my weathering with the rifle assembled. I don't know, the rifle, it gets weathered assembled, so I like to have it assembled when I put the weathering on. That's kind of up to you. That's, I guess, a personal choice, but that's how I do it. Now, in this case, I'm not going to put the buttstock on. I'm going to do that separately, and then we'll put that all back together again when we're all done. And that's mainly because, one, the buttstock is one kind of piece in and of itself, and it's easy to put on and pull off. And secondly, because it's just really big when you put it all together. And it's a little bit unwieldy for the size, and it wouldn't fit on the camera also. So I just ripped my last glove, which is great, but I'm going to keep it on because I don't have any more and my fingertips are still covered. Look at that. Oh well. So I'm going to set that to the side, and we will start. So at one point I had all of these screws really organized because there are 3 sizes of screws. But since I did that, I have had a few mishaps and they're all jumbled up. So it's going to be a little bit tricky to remember where, especially, for example, this screw goes. This one's easy because that has to do with the buttstock. But this screw's longer, and it goes in one of these holes here. Up top, I believe, but I don't remember which is why you try to organize it ahead of time. But we'll figure that out. I only put 2 screws in when I put it back together. There we go. So that I could paint the gun together. And now I have to find which 2 locations have the screws, which isn't always easy, as you can see. Alright, there's one, and the other one's going to be around here. Interesting, huh? Let's see. You know what? I think it's in one of these. It's funny. Let's see, maybe there's only one of them. Yep. I see. Well, there you go. There was only one. Look at that. Now, if you remember, if you've seen the first episode where we took this apart, I did not take any of the insides apart. I just made that decision so that I wouldn't have to remember how to put it back together again. With the ratcheting mechanism, this is one of the more complicated Nerf guns that you can put back together. So really it comes down to then just putting some of these external parts back on the correct way. There we go. For here, for example, there's a notch on this side. I don't know if you can see that. There's a notch here and a notch there. and there's something that sticks out right there, and I'm sure on the other side too, that matches that notch, so that you know which way to put this in, and it goes this way. Okay. This, if you remember that video, we took this silver pin out, which is the hinge. We're going to put that back in. It goes in that hole right there. There we go. This is a little tricky because it locks in to this and to this. And if you'll remember when we took this apart, there's the barrel that fits inside here, and there are these 3 pegs that fit in these holes, and they're coming from different directions. So you kind of have to bend the plastic in order to get them to all go on at the same time, because they overlap each other. And so it's a little tricky, as you can see. It may be a little easier if I lift the barrel up out a little. I don't want to remove the whole thing. Okay. There. Okay, make sure everything's back down. And I could put this back on, and that would go right there with a spring, which I don't have. But I didn't paint this, and this is this for an accessory rail. For the accessory rail, and you put accessories on the top, scopes and stuff. But the accessories will stay on even without this. This is a little help. And as you can see, I don't even have the spring anymore. I don't generally put these back on. That's why I didn't paint it. That's why I didn't keep the spring. If you want to, you can go ahead and put that back on. For the most part, you're not going to be putting any accessories on this anyways, because it might rub the paint. So I don't even worry about it. With that said, it's ready to be put back together again. And if you did everything correctly, it will line up. Okay. Make sure the silver bar lines up. Okay. Interesting. It's not wanting to go together. Sometimes that means that something came up out of place. I don't know what's not fitting, so just... I see. There is a notch that comes out of the cylinder that goes back and forth, and it's got to be just in the right place, in the right track. Okay, this right here. Bear with me while I look. What I'm doing is trying to look at the depth here of each one of these and which one everyone's a little bit shallower, because I'm trying to remember exactly where that goes. So, but while I think about that, I'm going to talk about these. So these are the other bandages that go on the front. And I went ahead and I painted them another base coat. They were black. I went ahead and sprayed another base coat of this off-white color. It's an ivory color. And this isn't any fancy spray paint because I'm just painting it over other paint. But I did spray this, and then so that it looks more like it's going to be like a gauze bandage, and then we'll weather that. And so these go on next. And there are some screws that go through here and then through here. So we have to put these on before we can really screw it together. But they are a tight fit for sure. Partly because we've painted the inside of these holes, and so there's not as much clearance as there was before. So come on, line up. Well, I don't think that I'm going to need to screw that together. So, thanks for waiting. Yeah, so what happened is so much paint got on the outside of the peg and on the inside of the hole that there was no more room in there. So I took it out, cleaned it off a little bit, and then I had to use a hammer a little to force it down there. So, but we got it together, and now we just start screwing stuff together. So, yeah, these things never go as planned. I was thinking, this will be a pretty quick episode. All I'm doing is putting together, just a few screws. I'm putting the long one right here. I'm pretty sure that's where it goes now. And, of course, it never goes as planned. There's always something. This is the same screwdriver that I used to take it apart. The magnet is not as important this time, but I still keep it on. And just be methodical. When you get done, there's a chance that you'll have an extra screw, and you'll swear to yourself, I put a screw in every hole, how do I have an extra one? But I've always found it that, no, I did miss a hole, and I got to put a screw in there. So be patient at this point. And, you know, about here, I'm pretty confident this isn't going to pop apart. I'm going to do what they call a functions check in the military, and I'm basically going to make sure that it still works. And there you go. It still works. It's a pain with this many screws if you wait until you put the entire thing back together again before checking that. Now sometimes you have to put most of it back together again, especially with the pistols, because it'll fall apart. You have to put enough screws in it that it won't fall apart as you're cocking and firing. But in this case, there's so many screws that, as you can see, I only had to put in about a third of them before I felt it was solid enough. Not only that, with the way this is as tight as it is to put back together again, you probably don't even need these screws, and it will never come apart. But I'm putting the screws there anyways. It's kind of a good feeling putting it back together again. The weathering is my favorite part. By the time you get to that, that's where the artistic ability really comes out. And so all the rest of this is just kind of the work that leads up, the prep work to the real magic. As you saw with the buttstock, you know, as you start making it look real, that's the fun thing. I put 7 layers on that buttstock, and it was the last layer, the 7th layer, that was the one that brought, in my opinion, brings it to life, and also took the longest. Almost took as long as all 6 of the other layers combined, because there's more thought that goes into it as I'm thinking about where would dirt be, where would it wouldn't be, where would your cheek rub off the grime and polish the wood, you know, just things like that. That's where the real artistic ability comes in. So I am running out of screws, but not as fast as I'm running out of holes. So this will be interesting to see what I have left. I have 3 screws left, and I know I have 2 holes in the buttstock. Let's see, there is one in here. Yep. That's not so obvious. It looks like it's part of the design, the detail of the gun. But there's one there. And then these last 2, I'm going to set that aside. Are for the buttstock, which I took out of the buttstock, but never took the buttstock apart. So I didn't really need to take these out. But there they go, back in. And then this is a big one that goes right through there to attach this to this. So that we are going to save, and I'll put that together afterwards. So this is almost ready to go. It is colored, put back together again, functional, and all we're going to do next time is weather it, put dirt, grime, give it a backstory, and bring it to life. So, hope you enjoyed watching this. Thank you for watching this. Make sure to subscribe and comment and like, or don't like, whatever. Thumb up, thumb down, whatever you think. Just let us know what you think. And until next time, bye.